I want to talk to you about Square Payments versus Stax Contactless Solutions. And if you are actually trying to accept credit card payments this year, you really have to think about whether you should go with Square Payments or Stax Contactless Solutions. Okay, and every provider has its pros and cons, and they are constantly adding new functionalities. And the big question is, should you go with either or? So let me give you the overview here. So basically, with the accelerated adoption of contactless payments since the COVID, okay, a number of payment providers have continued to find new ways to provide small businesses with the payment tools that they need to adapt. So if you are in an industry where you want to really go with contactless payments, you should think about Square Contactless or Stacks Contactless. I mean, it depends on which niche you're in. It depends on the transactional volume that you have. It depends on the features that you really need when it comes to contactless solutions. It also depends on the fees, right? I mean, affordability is an important element to really take into account if you are going to if you're going to select one provider versus another. Okay, and also you have to understand that not every country actually can process contactless payments. So because right now those this sort of process, this sort of payment process is not a relatively new concept in the states. However, in some countries it is. Okay, it really is, and not all merchants are adopting this new service like with open arms. So whether you are exploring payment processing options for your new business or you're looking for new payment processing solutions in response to a growing need in your industry, you have to understand that choosing the right contactless payments can really help you big time, especially if you are scaling, especially if you are growing, especially if you are trying to, like if you're having new solutions on the market. It's really important to have the right payment provider. I want to first talk to you about Square. So if you're looking for a Square contactless payments versus Stacks contactless solution, let's first discuss Square. So actually, the cool thing about this Square is that Square has been around for a while. Okay, and Square actually launched in 2010, so it's more than 15 years that the company is actually has been around. And what you will love about the Square is that it has a variety of iconic small business credit card raters. Okay, and so this is a company that is constantly innovating. So if you think about Square for your contactless payments, you are really you are in it for innovation, and you're in it for let's say efficiency too. Okay, Square has started expanding into e-commerce, which includes the acquisition of an online store platform. So nowadays, if you go with Square, you are also able to uh, to open a store. You can open an online store. Okay, so with Square, you have online store, so e-commerce payments. Okay, and this is primarily designed for small businesses who need a basic e-commerce platform to easily sell their products online, including curbside and delivery. So that just means what? Instead of going with Shopify or WooCommerce or BigCommerce, you can go with Square. And in terms of cost, there are four service pricing tiers. You have free, professional, performance, and premium. Okay, and you have about $72 a month to access the full suite, the full online store suite. So this is kind of important. So that's the cost when it comes to the POS. In terms of fees, for the standard e-commerce transaction fee, you have to pay 2.9% plus 30 cents per transaction with performance and premium tiers, offering a slight discount per transaction. So what about the online checkout? That's for e-commerce payments. This actually is a pretty interesting because it is designed for small businesses that desire a simple online payment page without having to create a full online e-commerce store. So online checkout is a single checkout link with like link or functionality or even button that redirects the customer to a Square hosted online payment form for a single purpose or product, which can include accepting donations for even a fundraiser. The cost here, it's $0 for existing customers with an existing Square account. In terms of the fees, you have the standard e-commerce transaction fee, which is 2.9% plus 30 cents per transaction. And this is actually valid for donations too. Next, you have a virtual terminal. So this is over the phone or email payments. So this is actually touted for businesses who want to charge customers using a computer. Square's VT, so the Square Virtual Terminal, actually allows business owners to take payments in person using a connected reader or remotely over the phone or email. The cost here is $0 for existing customers, but the fees are 3.5% plus 15 cents per keyed-in transaction, or 2.6% plus 10 cents per swipe. Next, you also have a Square Invoices. Okay, Square Invoices are pretty good for email or recurring payments. So this is actually focused on small businesses without the need to instantly collect payments. So this is a contactless option that focuses on the ability to bill customers via email or through recurrent payments. So when you create a Square Invoices account, you gain access to the Square dashboard where you will find invoicing, sales tracking, and contact management. So the cost here is $0 for existing $0 for existing customers, and the fees 2.9% plus 30 cents. You also have a contactless card readers and terminals. This is for in-store and mobile payments. So Square actually has three options for merchants: a Bluetooth-enabled contactless card reader, an all-in-one terminal, and also their Square registers. So Square's contactless and chip card readers can be connected to your Android or Apple mobile device wireless via Bluetooth. So it only accepts chip cards, EMV, and contactless NFC payments, but works alongside its magstripe reader to swipe chip cards and magstripe only cards. So if you have the Square contactless and chip card reader connected to your device, however, you will not be allowed to swipe the magnetic stripe on the cards if the card also has a chip. So that is because both cannot be used at the same time, as the contactless reader will only allow you to dip a card with a chip present. Okay, so just be aware of that slight modification, that slight detail. So in lieu of a full POS system like their Square Register, their all-in-one terminal provides the capability for businesses to do both using one system. So it's important to note that it does not have a web browser or any additional apps, and like all of their other products, it's only compatible with Square's credit card processing. So the cost here, you have a $49 for the contactless Square reader alone, $2.99 for the all-in-one terminal. So there is an additional cost of $39 for a hub that will allow the terminal to connect to the internet via Ethernet and add USB accessories. And you have $7.99 for Square's register. In terms of fees, you have 2.6% plus 10 cents for every dip, tap, or swipe payment. So something to really think about. And one thing I want to say is that it's all about the transactional volume that you currently have. Let me talk to you about the pros and cons of Square's contactless payment options. Okay, in terms of the pros, you have a simple and easy to use actually tool for small businesses. You have access to the Square dashboard where you will find invoicing and sales tracking, and you have a large marketplace with numerous third-party integrations. So that's actually a non-exhaustive list of all the pros. What about the cons? Now the cons actually you have, like, including a wide variety of integrated touch-free payment options are more important than ever in today's economy, right? This means what? It means that if you don't have this sort of integration, this could be a problem. And Square doesn't always have the right integration. So you also have the add-on style payment processing solutions. So this is something to really think about because this can increase your total cost. You also have added payment processing and technology cost. If you were to go with Square, this is something to really think about because if you are a brick and mortar store and want to quickly add a curbside pickup or a delivery e-commerce solution, you only have two options when using Square outside of building a whole new website with their online store, which is not a quick or easy thing to actually do. Okay. So adding an extension with a third party e commerce company actually could be a little problematic too. But hey, listen, they do what they have to do. So that's for Square. Now let me talk to you about Stax. Again, we are having a conversation between Square contactless payments and Stax contactless solutions. Okay, so what does Stax contactless payments solutions actually have to offer? So unlike a Square's individual contactless payment options, Stax contactless solutions offers all the critical contactless payments tools that small businesses need to actually use in today's economy. Okay, and you have this through a single platform. So you don't have to open 1,000 windows. You have one single platform that actually gathers everything. Okay. So with the Stax platform, the company empowers you to get the easiest, most cost effective technology solutions that you need in all your digital space. Okay. So contactless features include a one click instant e commerce shopping cart. You have two-way text to pay platform. You have a virtual portal for keying in phone orders, and you have multiple touch-free mobile or countertop terminal options. You have email and text invoices. You have access to Stack's robust analytics dashboard. You have award-winning 24/7 customer support. You have easy enrollment, allowing you to set up a full suite of contactless options overnight. So that's really good. Within 24 hours, you can have this set up. Okay, and in terms of pros and cons, if you were to go with Stax, the pros, you have the subscription model that can help you if you are a high volume business because your transaction volume doesn't really impact the price that you pay. And add-on features like brand customization tools are also available here. You have no long-term contracts here. That's for the pros. In terms of cons, pricing is not as transparent as competitors. And next day funding is not available for all merchants, and this may even cost you extra depending on your situation. And Stax Payments is actually best for businesses that process a high volume of transactions and also want to avoid actually a flat rate pricing model. So let me talk to you about if you think about Square payments, Square contactless payments versus Stax, where does a Stax payments stand out? Well, you do have a subscription based pricing model. You have add on features, you have no long term contracts. So when I say a subscription based pricing model, you can see on the screen here a little bit of the prices. Okay. So you have the payment processing model. So payment processing fees, monthly fees, hardware costs, contract length, and customer support. So in terms of payment processing fees, you have interchange plus 8 cents for in-person transactions, interchange plus 15 cents for manually keyed transactions. Okay. So the monthly fee is $99 if you process less than $150,000 per year, $139 if you process between 150K and 250K per year, and $199 and up if you process more than a quarter of a million per year. That's something to really think about. The hardware cost is actually quote based, so that gives you some kind of leverage. You just need to contact the company, and there are no long-term contracts with Stax. Okay, and you have phone support from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Eastern. And you also have email support available. So really, it's really good. I love the fact that there are no long-term contracts because you have here a month-to-month subscription model. So you have control if your business actually, if there's a problem in your business or you want to change your business model, you have the flexibility. Okay. In terms of where Stax payments falls short, okay, basically next day funding is not guaranteed. So while some Stax merchants are approved for next day funding, they may have to pay extra for it, and other businesses with little to no processing history may only be able to access deposits after 48 hours. Alternatively, competitors often offer next day funding for free. And you also have the lack of transparency in terms of pricing, okay? So something to really think about. So if you think about Square contactless payments or Stax contactless solutions, which one should you go for this year? Well, you got to ask yourself, are you looking for a subscription billing or are you looking for a flat rate payment processor? Because Square is definitely that, okay? Square is a flat rate payment processor that offers custom pricing to some businesses that process more than $250,000 annually. You don't have to sign a contract with Square, and you can set up a free online store too. So if you think about that, if you're interested in setting up an online store, Square could be really interesting. I mean, there are also additional features like dispute management, fraud prevention, and an offline operating mode. Okay, so you have lots of flexibility when it comes to Square. So that's for Square. What about Stax? Well, Stax, I think I've said this before. Stax, the cool thing is that you have the subscription. Okay, you have subscription every month. So if you have if you are a large volume merchant, if your transactional volume is kind of huge, definitely Stax is the best is the best provider. You do not want to go with Square. If you go with Square with a large volume, you will be losing a lot of money. But if you are a small volume merchant, it's just better to go with Square. Also, if you have an international orientation, it's better to go with Square because Square has the capabilities and also the setup to actually support you. I mean, they're doing online businesses already, so they also do international businesses. Okay, but yeah, you only want to go with them if you like the idea of a pay-as-you-go model. But if you love the monthly billing process, it's just better to go with Stax. As a recap in today's conversation, I spoke to you about Square contactless payments versus Stax contactless solutions. I gave you the overview. I spoke about Square, and now I'm speaking to you about Stax. And finally, the decision. Okay. Thank you so much. God bless you. I will see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.